The Dead Space series has provided some of the most terrifying and exciting moments of the current console generation, achieving blockbuster status after only 2 games. And of course, along with the success comes larger expectations for the release of the third title, Dead Space 3. And thankfully, from a playtest we've had, it looks set to keep the series well and truly alive.
Give me a course correction.
The plates are shaking loose. We're dropping like a rock.
Oh, shit.
So Dead Space 3 has a lot of new features that are really innovative compared to Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 1. One of the very big new things is our fully featured drop-in, drop-out co-op that is going to let players play the full campaign with a friend. Dead Space 3 happens pretty close to Dead Space 2, so you are going to find Isaac pretty much where you left him off from Dead Space 2. You can see that he's pretty, tired at that point. He's been going through a lot, and unfortunately for him, it's not over. Another big addition to the game is a weapon crafting feature. And this one is going to allow players to craft their own weapons, to engineer them. Isaac is actually an engineer. He's kind of this smart guy. And it really ties back into our fiction where he's able to craft things. So players are going to be able to explore the world, find weapon parts, find resources, go to a bench, assemble them, and create their very unique weapon. Also, story-wise, we're going to answer a lot of questions about the story, the lore that people have come to know with the previous games.
Alongside the co-op mode in Dead Space 3, there is the addition of the human enemies in the form of the unitologist armies, who are protecting the markers. It seemed the temptation of throwing in some cover-based combat was too much to resist in the third installment, which is surprising considering the Resident Evil series has taken a lot of flack for adding both co-op and cover-based gameplay elements. So it'll be interesting to see if Dead Space 3 can get this right.
So there are very specific elements that make a Dead Space game a Dead Space game. The thrills, the fear, the horror, the action, the immersion, the award-winning sound design. And a Dead Space game wouldn't be a Dead Space game without those elements. So you are absolutely going to find them in Dead Space 3. Horror is maintained and has been developed much deeper on the psychological effect when you play in co-op. People have been asking, is it going to be scary when I play co-op? Yes, it is, just in a different way. And so we are absolutely diving into the psychological horror that we explored a little bit in Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 1.
From the first few levels we played, it's clear that Dead Space 3 does feel very different. And apart from the cover-based system and the human enemies, some traditional single-player elements of the franchise have improved as well. The protagonist Isaac Clarke feels well-rounded and a developed character in the third installment. And the weapon crafting system is just a delight. And even if you don't want to jump into co-op, you don't feel as if you're missing anything that you would if you only played the game paired up.
So something that was really important for us when we developed Dead Space 3 was that we absolutely maintain the single-player experience that people have enjoyed and come to expect from Dead Space. So we didn't want to have an AI follower that would follow Isaac because it kind of ruins the atmosphere and mood for you. So he's here, he's kind of in the backstory, you see him as a secondary character, but he doesn't follow Isaac anywhere. You're going to cross his path along the way, but he's not going to be with you.
We'd say there is every reason to be excited about Dead Space 3. While there's still some uncertainty about the co-op and action elements of the game, I have every faith that Visceral Games will succeed where the Resident Evil games have failed. And with a story that looks to be just as, if not more engaging than its predecessors, if you haven't already bought the game this year, it will make the perfect first game to buy in 2013.
Dead Space is a very rich universe that we have, expanded through other media such as graphic novels, animated features, comic books, and we are always looking for ways to expand that universe. So I can't tell specifically about a game or anything, but one thing I can tell you is that we are always looking for ways to, enrich this universe and build new characters and lore around it.